Stories Unlocked is a podcast for everyone and anyone. Each week, hosts Ari George and Selina Nguyen have open and honest conversations with key personalities aimed to inspire, educate and entertain listeners, acting as a conduit between everyday people and names of individuals we all aspire to be. Listen to our podcast with an open mind as you prepare to take notes, laugh, cry, and feel inspired to be the best version of yourself. Speaking of successful women in business, this week, we sit down with an inspiring woman who's made a significant impact within the aesthetic industry. Her relentless work ethic has assisted her in overcoming personal and professional adversities, inspiring others with her resilience and fierce determination. With previous experience of owning her own business for 13 years, she now leads the Is Clinical team for Australia and New Zealand as their National Sales Manager. Get ready to be inspired by the amazing story of Fergil Mestanov, who proves that anything is possible with hard work and a positive attitude. And we're live with Fergil. Hi, Fergil.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, thank you.
Thank you for making the trip all the way here just to be on our podcast. We're super excited to have you.
Well, I'm excited to be here.
Honestly, when Ari told me that he wanted you on as a guest, I was like, yes, 100%. I want Fergil here. This is going to be amazing.
Let's hope so. Either that or the viewers are going to be like, we're not dialing in next time.
No, I doubt it. No, but let's jump in. So I have heard on many occasions that you refer to your life as a soap opera.
In fact, yes.
But I know you to be as like a boss lady, like you are incredible in like your field. Mm-hmm. Tell me, were you always this sort of like passionate, fiery, motivated when you were younger?
Yes.
Yeah? From like the womb?
I was a jailbird in the womb.
Stop.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Oh, okay. So going back to 1980, my parents illegally crossed the border from Bulgaria over into what's now known as Serbia, which was the former Yugoslavia. And they were in prison for 3 months and Mum was in her third trimester. So I was right there with them in jail for 3 months.
Way.
Yeah. So that's the background there.
Criminal record even when you were a baby.
Overachiever.
Oh my gosh. So then you guys, when did you come to Australia then, you and your parents?
A month later. So I was born in Belgrade and then being of a refugee status, United Nations stepped in and they said you can't have a woman in prison when she's in her final trimester of a pregnancy. Yeah. So they released them out of prison and because of the refugee status they were given two options, which was either Canada or Australia, and ironically Dad's cellmate was from Australia and he said you have to go to Australia, land of opportunity, plenty of meat, get on down there. So here we are. We came here pretty much a month later. So I was a 1-month-old baby when they made the trip over here, and I met my older sister for the first time when I was 4 because she was left behind with my grandparents.
Oh, wow.
It was too risky to cross the border from Bulgaria to Yugoslavia, being a communist country. That's why they initially fled the country. And when I went back in 1989 for the first time and met the relatives, my mum's dad, my grandfather, had said that out of thousands of people that left the country illegally as refugees and crossed the border either into neighbouring Greece, Turkey or Serbia, all of them were shot and killed on the border, and Mum and Dad were the only ones that were successful to cross the border. And they had their ladder. Dad created like a pulley system. Yeah. Because the fence itself was an electric fence and there were mines on either side, a couple of meters either side. So he created this like bridge type of a pulley ladder and they crossed over it. Mum 6 months pregnant at the time. And getting back to earlier, they left my older sister behind, so she was 3. And it took about 4 years constantly, dealing with the embassy, trying to get a visa. So I was 4 and she was 7 when she came to Australia in 1984, and I met my older sister for the first time then.
No way.
Yeah.
What a origin story.
Yeah, I know. So, that's where the soap opera started, basically.
Oh my God, that's insane.
It is insane.
Your family had to even go through that.
Yeah. I mean, growing up out west in Sydney, that's common.
Yeah.
It's such a common story that you hear with everyone. I went to Cabramatta Primary School, and in the 90s you had an influx of the Vietnamese migrants, and they were refugees fleeing, you know, their country and the communism there and whatnot. So yeah, just a lot of heartbreaking stories that you hear of people just trying to get to a better life and a better country where they've got opportunities. So not uncommon, but when you reflect back on it 40 years ago, it's a bit of a story.
It's a good story, yeah. So I'm Vietnamese, so I come from an immigrant Vietnamese family. So
Wow.
I feel like in those immigrant families, you grow up with like that sort of trope of, you know, hardworking, struggle, persistence, etc. What was like your childhood like growing up?
Well, we didn't come from a privileged background. You know, mum and dad came to Australia, and they were young parents. So dad would have been 26 at the time, mum would have been 24, and they've got a 1-month-old baby. And I distinctly remember dad saying, we only came to Australia with $100 in our pocket. Absolutely nothing. And we were in a hostel situation, like a refugee camp type thing in Western Sydney, where they were obviously helping people with refugee status, and we didn't have a lot. And but mum and dad just worked so hard. I think my work ethics and my siblings' work ethics come from them, because we've witnessed them with their struggles, with nothing, and then they've done actually incredibly well for themselves. So having heard them tell other people of their story, when they were making friends, and you know, you're quite impressionable. 0 to 7 is an integral part of a young child's development stage of their life, and just hearing those stories, you know, it used to just make me think, like, if they can do it, coming to a country where they don't know the language, their professional or their professions aren't recognised, and they have to start from the ground up. If they can do it, what's stopping us? Yeah. So I know myself and my sisters, I've got a younger sister as well, we've just got that drive. Like, nothing is an obstacle, and we don't take no for an answer. So it's just like, you just go. And I think, you know, in history, you reflect on a lot of successful people, and even people that you look up to in your own life, they've got that mindset where it's, you give it your all. And I teach this to my children as well, my 2 girls. I say, you have to give it 110%. Even giving it 100% in today's society means that you're just cruising. Yeah. I feel like you're just cruising. Yeah. You're content with being mediocre, and your results are going to be mediocre. Yeah. So if you want an extraordinary, exceptional life, you have to give it your all and go above and beyond. You know, having had my own business and now heading a company, High Tech Medical, with the Is Clinical Skincare division, I just find that when you have new recruits come on board, you can see a distinct difference where someone's got that hardworking, ethical hustle culture, and then someone who's happy just to cruise and put in the 9 to 5 and not go above and beyond. And you can see who's going to come out on top and who's just happy to, you know, be stationary. So yeah, I think that mentality in human beings generally comes from your upbringing. Yeah. What adversities did you overcome? You know, what was your background like? Pretty much.
Yeah, I agree. I think all of those environmental factors really impact sort of like a person's personality, characteristics, etc., their mentality. So yeah, 100% agree. You mentioned that you have had your own business. Mm-hmm. When did that start and what was it?
I was 25. Yeah. So I started in the aesthetic industry in 1999. So I finished my HSC. I wanted to get into a science degree at uni because my passion's always been the aesthetic industry. Mm-hmm. I even recall in 1996 when I had my year 10 work experience, and I had 2 options. One, I actually had work experience with the plastic surgeon, and they mistook me for an older student, a nursing student, and allowed me into the operating theatres, which didn't go down well when they figured that I wasn't a nursing student and I was just a year 10 work experience student. Oh no. And then the second one was at a beauty college as well, because I wanted to get into skincare and skincare formulation. So that's where the science element for me really fascinates me. And at 16, I remember after doing those 2 weeks of work experience, I had said to Dad, I'm like, I'm going to open a business at 25. And he didn't want to burst my bubble. And he goes, you go for it. Aww. But, you know, they say it in that way. It's like, yeah, maybe it ain't going to happen, but you just go for it anyway. I remember just finishing high school, and I didn't get into University of New South Wales. That was my first preference. And I got into Western Sydney. And I'd grown up in Liverpool. So I was like, not relocating to Western Sydney. I'll get no study done. So I thought, you know, I'll have a back year and take the year off. Mum and Dad were like, nah, that's not happening. So I took a 3-month vacation, went to Europe, came back, and then just got into beauty. And then, I fell into management by 21. I bought my first property at 21.
Wow. What?
Yeah, and but you got to remember, at 21, the rest of my friends were all out partying, nightclubs, this, that, whatnot. I wasn't. I was working 7 days a week for 10 months and saved up a deposit and bought a property off the plan at 21. And then I thought, well, this will be my down payment or collateral to get a business loan when I opened my business at 25. So that was my mindset. Opened the business at 25. It was in a Westfield, so that was a traumatic experience in itself.
Oh, God. What do you mean?
Oh, well, look, with the Westfields, any business in a Westfields, as you know, operates 7 days a week.
Yeah.
It's open 360 days a year, no time off, basically. Your brain doesn't get to switch off. Doesn't matter how many vacations you have. So when I opened it, the first 6 months, I worked 7 days a week in my own business. So I opened that at 25. I used to work for a company. Some people may remember or not remember. It was Ella Rouge. And I convinced the owners to get into franchising. And I remember telling the franchisor, we shook on it. I said, I'm going to franchise. And he goes, listen, we're not interested in franchising. I'm like, yeah, you're going to franchise. And he goes, well, you've got the means to go and open your own business. And I said, yeah, I know, but I know your buying power. Remember, I'm the manager, so I can see everything in the point of sale system, and I know what you're getting it for, as opposed to me and opening my own business and getting only 33% margin. You're getting 200% margin. So we're going to franchise. So we shook hands. 12 months later, I opened in Penrith. So I remember taking out a $660,000 loan. This is going back to 2005. I had more guts back then than what I do now. Honest to God, if I look back, I'm like, where the hell did you have the balls to do that? Like, what were you even thinking? But did it. And I remember the accountant at the time saying, listen, don't expect to make a profit for at least 2 years. And I'm like, well, why would I get into business if that's not going to happen?
Right.
And he goes, but that's what you should prepare for. And I'm like, nah, man, we're not doing that. We got to go. We're going to hit the ground running. And honestly, we did hit the ground running.
Really?
Like, it was phenomenal. Like, this is going back to the days where you would go in, have full laser hair removal, one session for your legs, and it was about $700-800 per session.
Wow.
The industry has been bastardized now, where you can go in and get underarm Brazilian and your full legs for $99.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even turn on the laser machine for a start, but those were the days. That's when you made coin. And it was good. You had drive, ambition, had all the energy in the world. Don't know what I was thinking. But we did it, and it went on for 13 years. So
13 years.
2 shop fit outs later, because with Westfields, your leasing agreement is that every 5 years you have to agree to redo your fit out.
Oh.
A lot of money.
Wait, they make you do...
It's a part of your leasing contract, yeah.
Oh my God.
So it's like I've owned 3 businesses practically with the amount of money I've spent. But it was an eye-opener. Incredible experience.
I was just about to say, you would have learnt so much from that, considering you were 21, 25
when I opened it. But I was managing beforehand.
Yeah,
so
that's insane.
It was.
To even think like now, 21, 25-year-olds, they're...
Oh my God. The mindset, do not even start me there. Do not start me. Honestly, it's like, you know, they want all the perks, benefits, and things. I like to call them things. Designer label, this, that, and the other. But there isn't the work ethic behind it, I find. And it's a very entitled culture. Right. Very, very entitled culture. And everyone wants to be in the top position on the top dollar, but you got to work your way up. You got to prove yourself in any industry. You have to have the drive, the ambition, the work ethic, and you got to know your place. You got to earn your stripes, and that's what kind of probably gets under my skin a little bit. Everyone's got like, oh, I'm a boss lady, whatever, and it's like, well, where's your street cred? What have you done? What have you attained in your lifetime that can make you hashtag boss bitch or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, I just think you if you're gonna talk the talk, you got to walk the walk, and you got to lead by example. That's my biggest thing. It's if you're not prepared to do something in any given role in any industry, don't expect your team, and it's got to be a team effort. And I think people are caught up with the title of I'm a manager or I'm a business owner, yet they do not know how to inspire people. And I think to get the best out of any business, you have to exhibit a unique balance between leadership and management skills. And I think that is the key and the recipe to success. When you can get that really unique balance, you inspire and motivate people to want to work for you and work with you and hit those KPIs and, you know, and all of that. So it's interesting times now. To say the least, but I have to admit, like with my older daughter, she'll be turning 16 this year. I got her into a job with a friend of mine about 2 years ago, before she was even the legal age, because that's what I did. I started working in a kebab shop, typical Turk story, at Flemington Haymarket, making kebabs.
No way.
Yes way.
I can't imagine you doing that now.
Yeah. Oh, look, you'd be surprised. Even when I had my business, my parents had their own business too. And, you know, on busy times of the year, if my business was closed, which was the only time, probably Boxing Day and New Year's Day, I'd go and help them out. Even like in my 20s, even a mum of two, I'd go help them out. You got to stay humble in life, I think.
Yeah. That's incredible. Like, I would assume that your parents pushed you as a kid? No?
Nah. They just said, take every opportunity that comes along. They weren't really... Oh, look, they were tough in the sense that self-respect's important in my family. Respect to your family is important. Having strong family values. I think all of those things are integral in what's shaped us. But they weren't like, oh, you got to become a doctor. I think with my older sister, they did. Doctor or lawyer. I got away with it.
They softened up a bit?
Nah, they just said, you need to start working. And I started working at 12. She didn't. She got a free pass because she was the brains. So they're like, we better get her working and she'll become the doctor or the lawyer. I don't know. Wog mentality. The first one always gets hit hard. The first child always gets hit hard. But yeah, no, I just worked hard.
Wait, so you started working at 12
and have not stopped
since? Oh my gosh.
Have not stopped. I'd say by the time I was 18, finished high school, I'd already gone for at least about 3 jobs, really, really well-paying jobs, but because this is going back to the 90s where cash in the hand, under the table, no tax, that type of jazz really flew. I started at 12 and have not stopped since.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't even have maternity leave. So I had my older daughter when I was 27. Had my second daughter at 35. Whilst I had a business. So I think with my older daughter, I had 4 months off maternity leave, kind of, where I'd only go into the clinic maybe once or twice a week.
Oh my God.
And then with my younger daughter, I had 6 months off, only going into the clinic maybe twice a week again. But yeah, when it's a 7-day operation, you really can't step away. You can't step away. And we were busy, high foot traffic. We were on the entry competing with all the department store brands as well. Your Lancome, your Chanel, Dior. Not that they did anything in terms of skincare. Let's not even go there. They were cosmetic. But saying that, we were right next to them. So there was a lot of foot traffic. We used to see probably close to 250 clients a week.
What?
A week. Yeah, high volume, high pace, crazy, just crazy.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine like how how busy not only like you were physical, but also like your mind, like thinking about your business constantly, considering 100%. You didn't even have like a break.
No such thing.
Oh my
I don't think any business owner, you do not switch off.
God.
The only time you switch off is when the business isn't there. And I think that happened in November 2018 when I got that check and the business was sold. I was like, yes, it's done. Yes. It was a massive relief because for the first time I was able to switch off. And I took 6 months off. I just was like, not working. I'm not working for once in my life. And then I got back into it.
I swear, Fergil, you're a workaholic or something.
I am. Look, honestly speaking, working is like second nature and comes easy to me. The hardest job on the planet is being a mum.
I can't imagine you doing both at the same time.
Oh, it's hard.
How's your experience like being a young mum? Like you were a young mum.
Yeah, reflecting back on it compared to the average age of women having children now, I think it's about like 33.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it was young. I think I've always been mature for my age and I accept responsibility wholeheartedly. It was easy, I'd say, in the sense that your energy is there.
Yeah.
So with the newborn, the sleep deprivation and whatnot, it knocks you about, but you bounce back. Whereas when I had my younger daughter at 35, I was like, holy cow, I've forgotten what this was all about. And I was like, man, I can't function. Like, the sleep deprivation was insane. And I'm like, I can't do this.
Oh my God.
But you do it. And I've had the experience or learning lessons of experiencing 2 divorces. So I'd say the vast majority of my parenthood has been a single mum. So add that to the mix. Told you, days of our lives, eat your heart out.
And that's crazier. Single mum, working nonstop with a business, gone through 2 divorces. That is honestly soap opera. Someone get her a reality show. Because
we'll save the podcast on dating experiences for another episode.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine your family must be so close and tight knit. Like they must have been so supportive of you throughout. Like your
yes, mum is my backbone.
Yeah.
Without my mum, I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Honest to God, even now, because I do a lot of domestic travel with my role at the moment, and it takes a lot of preparing in terms of logistics.
Yeah.
But my mum is my rock. So she'll pretty much come, set up shop in my home. And if I'm gone for 3 nights a week, whatever it might be, she's raising my kids. And I swear to God, she's a better mum than me. I'm like, when my kids are with her, I feel at ease. I'm like, yeah, they're fine. They're totally fine.
That's so good.
So yeah, my mum is so supportive. And for a period there, I did move not back home with my parents. My parents owned the property next door to where I grew up.
Yeah.
So I was right next to them. So I needed it at that time. So when I was going through my first divorce, that was soul crushing.
God.
That was very, very difficult. And I think I just needed to have my family around me at that time. So I moved back there and I was there for, I think it was like 2 or 3 years just to regroup, not only just mentally, but financially. And my older daughter was only 1 at the time. So, having a little one who isn't seeing their father at all, so you're doing the whole workload yourself, you do lean on your family. My older sister helped, younger sister helped, mum helped. My parents, mind you, still had their own business at the time too. So it's like a juggling act. But yeah, I mean, look, as the saying goes, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
That's very true.
Let's hope.
But
yeah. So that's the story thus far.
No, but honestly, hearing like you having to juggle being a mum and a business owner, I can't imagine how I could even do that at my age. But anyways, so after you sold your business, so what age did you sell your business?
I was 38.
38. What did you fall into then after?
So the last year that I had my business, I came across this unique device called hydrofacial. And my current bosses distributed that exclusively in Australia and New Zealand. So I went to a conference called Cosmeticon, and it's probably the conference that you want to be at.
Yeah.
Really, really good conference. And I was just walking around and you could see the exhibition stands, and then I saw the hydrofacial device. Long story short, I walked up and I was like, so this is the device that I was going to get. And my colleague Michael, I love him like a brother, he's amazing. He's like, you were going to get one, but you didn't? And he is the definition of a hustler. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, well, what happened? Where was your clinic? And I said, it was in Penrith. He goes, you're Fergil, Elephant Man, remembers everything.
Wow.
I'm like, how the hell? He goes, because you're the only inquiry I've ever had from Penrith. And this is going back to 2019. And I said, oh, really? And he goes, so what happened? And I said, I sold my business. Anyway, long story short, he goes, what are you doing now? I go, I'm unemployed for the first time in my life, loving it.
Since 12?
Yeah, exactly. And I should be in retirement by now. And then he goes, are you looking for anything? And I go, potentially. And he goes, oh, yeah. And he goes, so what are you looking for? I go, not really sure. I go, it depends on what it pays. And he goes, rightio. And he goes, are you still on the same number? And he still had my mobile number. And I go, yeah, still on the same number. And he goes, leave it with me. So he put in a good word with Matt, my boss. Next minute, I'm interviewed. I think I got interviewed like 5 times.
Wow.
Matt likes to really think through who he's going to hire. He's not a quick mover. And I'm like, does man even like me? I'm not sure. And I'd be like calling Michael going, hey, it's been about 3 months. Is the job taken? Like, what's going on? And he goes, no, be patient on my radio. So anyway, I fell into the business development management role for New South Wales. So that was my territory. Michael would sell the devices and I'd go in and build the businesses. Coming from my background, it helped significantly to help them strategize how to market, how to grow the business, how to sell programs of treatments, whatnot, how to integrate hydrofacial with their existing devices. So that all came about. And then High Tech Medical was a distributor. So High Tech Medical had been approached by these guys, Is Clinical, which is from an American manufacturer called Innovative Skincare. They'd been approached for, I think, at least about a decade going, we'd love to partner with you. We'd like you to be the official distributor for Australia and New Zealand. We hear great things about you. And to Matt's credit, he's done an incredible job of launching any new technology device into the Australian market and doing a brilliant job of it. But the whole team was all boys. And I was the only one with skin background, like sales, skincare, whatnot, having had the business. The boys were just device focused. And I remember Matt going, so we've been approached by this company and, you know, we might bring in the skincare, you know about skin. We'd like you to probably look after it. And I just turned around and said, with all due respect, Matt, I go, I'm not like a pushy car salesman. I can't just sell anything. I have to truly love it, believe in it, and be passionate about it for it to be a success. And I go, so I can't sell something that I don't like. So I'm happy doing my hydrofacial role. And he goes, will you actually even have a look at it? And I go, yeah, I'm happy to look at it. I'm all about, you know, devices in the aesthetic industry, new skincare in this industry. So I'm like, yeah, I'll definitely look at it. So I had a conference Zoom call with Catherine, who's head of international sales. And she's like, okay, so what are your concerns? I'll tailor skincare specifically for you because it is a pharmaceutical grade cosmeceutical. So you do need to have a proper consult with it.
Yeah.
And she goes, give it a go and let us know your thoughts. So I tried the products and I was like, where the hell have you been my whole life? And I'm not even lying. Like, I don't say that lightly because I had 5 different brands in my business. I'd say 90% of it was cosmeceutical, so results-driven skincare or corrective skincare. We moved anywhere between $500,000 worth of skincare a year. Like, the business was pumping, and that's just the skincare. That's not even including the services that we were offering in the business. So it was a busy business. So I'm just like, I'm very, very fussy with devices, with skincare and whatnot. So I was like, where the hell was this brand? And the brand's been around for 20 years.
Oh my God.
Matt, you should have picked it up earlier. So long story short, at this point, 2019, 2020, 2021, up until April last year, I was running those 2 roles.
At the same time.
at the same time, and then pretty much when COVID hit in 2020, the hydrofacial style just came to a grinding stop. Because you couldn't visit businesses, everything was closed. So I put all my energy and effort into this, and it just took off.
Wow.
We were meant to launch, we couldn't even do an official launch. And I just remember in like meetings with Matt and Deb saying, this is going to be a game changer in the Australian market. This is going to blow up. And I said, we're going to hit 10 million per year before you know it. And they're just like happily nodding, and they're probably thinking, oh, this girl's just talking out of her ass, you know. And like I said before, it's a matter of putting where your mouth is. If you're going to say something, you better bring your A game and deliver on the goods. And I was like, okay, I'll rise to the challenge. And 3 years in, we're ranked 6th in the world for gross sales as a distributor. Wow. My aim is to get to at least 1, 2 or 3. So for this coming year, I want to get to number 3. The brand's around the world, 20 years going strong. We'll get to number 3 and eventually we'll get to number 1. No doubt.
You're amazing.
We will do it.
Yeah.
We will do it. No doubt we will do it. We've got a team now.
Yeah.
Because it was just me for a while there.
Yeah.
So we've got 3 more territory managers come on board to cover New Zealand and Australia because I can't be everywhere all the time. And we're going to absolutely change the aesthetic skincare industry on its head. Just give me a couple of more years. Okay. This is going to be the leading brand in Australia. No doubt.
We'll touch base again in a few years.
Yeah, but we're just going to have to do this interview in the Bahamas, I think.
Yeah, okay.
That's my incentive. We're going to the Bahamas.
No, I love it. I love like how motivated and like passionate you are about this.
Well, you got to back yourself.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree.
If you don't believe in you, who is going to believe in you?
Exactly.
Am I going to buy into whatever the hell you're selling me? Yeah. No, you got to back yourself. And the products, the formulations, the science, everything behind it is there. You just got to open the door and have the conversation with the business and say, hey, have a look. Just have a look.
Yeah.
The rest speaks for itself. So it's quite easy. I find that it's quite easy. And the team, they're realizing that too because the products, deliver. They deliver on the results. So this is going to be a game changer.
No, I'm excited to see.
Yeah. Watch this space, yeah?
Yeah, watch this space. No, but I'm now curious. So your whole sort of like career path has been really about aesthetics, like about skincare, cosmetics, etc. What were like your hobbies when you were growing up as a child? Like how did you fall into it?
Oh, geez. Hobbies? I did do dancing. Did dancing. You? Yeah, I got a scholarship at the Sydney Dance Academy when I was 12. And then mum and dad are like, you're not doing it.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. Because it meant that your education was 6 hours of dance a day and then you had 3 hours dedicated to proper education, maths, English, science, whatnot. And they're like, nah, you can't make a career out of it. I would have been an epic pole dancer or a stripper, but hey, they earn a lot of money, but it just wasn't going to fly with the refugee parents, migrants, it wasn't going to fly. So, I did do dancing. I still enjoy dancing. Always have a boogie with my kids. I'm probably that crazy mum. Oh, I am. Not probably. I am the crazy mum where we are listening to all types of music in the car. We've got some deep house going. We've got the R&B. We even get the 2-pack out. Like you name it, we do. So dancing was my hobby. But then making money at age 12 became a hobby.
That became your main interest.
It did. Honest to God, it did. Because you know what? At the end of the day, not that material things motivate me. Never, ever. I was never about that. But the financial freedom that you get, that's the driving force behind it. And I think I mentioned it to you earlier, like just 3 months ago, my daughter had that horrific accident in Bali where she fell 6 meters off the diving platform and had 2 surgeries. If you don't have the financial freedom and, the resources, I couldn't have gotten onto the flight, gotten there in less than 24 hours and then gotten her on another flight, back to Perth Children's Hospital, like that's what you strive for. I think people have forgotten why we work.
Yeah.
Because they've made it about things, acquiring materialistic things. For me, it's not. It's more about being a single parent, me providing for my girls. Like, I don't want them to go without, and I just want to be able to look after them with no stress. That's probably why I work so hard, because it's not cheap in Sydney.
No, that's true.
Not cheap. And yeah, I think, money was making a hobby. Listen, my current hobbies, however, are fine dining, fashion, and travel. So I'm just your basic bitch, basically. They're super cruisy, standard, hobbies. Yeah. Very expensive hobbies. But, look, they're the things that make me happy. Let's just say the kids have acquired an expensive taste too.
They've learnt from their mum.
But, you're not going to take the money to the grave. So enjoy it. Make memories. That's the thing for me. Like, if you have the financial freedom, you then have the flexibility to create memories. Because when you've got Alzheimer's and you're in the nursing home, like, you're going to have that spark of a memory back in 1965 when we did this and we did that. And I think that's the thing that I keep telling myself. It's okay. You're going to have all these memories. You're not going to have things. Yeah. The things don't mean anything later on in life. You're just going to remember, remember that time we went over to this country, and remember that time we, experienced this epic cuisine in a third world country, whatever it might be, It's not always fine dining. I just stretch the truth a little bit. But, it is memories. It's memories. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I think, like, paying for experiences and stuff like that, I think is so much more worth it than paying for, like, material goods.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's got it. Everyone's got it, So, yeah, I think that's where it's at.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have reached your dream in terms of, like, your career aspirations? No? Oh, well, other than that.
That'll happen in the next 5 years. After that, who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Doors still open?
I'm currently very, very happy with where I work. I get asked that question quite a bit, to be honest. All the time when I go into businesses, because I'm meeting all these women who are business owners. Some of them fresh into the game, like they're establishing their business for their first time, or people that have been in it for such a long time, and they're like, you had such a thriving, busy business. Would you ever consider getting back into it? And I actually genuinely, hand on my heart, say, no. Do not want that stress. I've done it. I've achieved it. And I did it well. And now when I think back, like 13 years, God damn, you get less for, murdering someone these days. Like, that's a long run. 13 years is a long run. But I just think, I've got more to offer now in my role, educating other women how to run a successful business. And to me, that's more rewarding and it's more fulfilling, because I've been through it. I've been in their shoes. I know what works, what doesn't work. And I can help them navigate the circus that goes on with juggling everything, because it's not easy. For women, achieving success in any industry is not easy. Everything comes at a sacrifice. You either sacrifice and forgo having children, relationships. And I always say there's only two options for successful women. You either go at it alone, or you have a super, super supportive partner that does not feel emasculated. Right. And like, that's a sacrifice I've made in my life to achieve my career goals, but I would not change it, because having experienced what I've experienced, it's given me more resilience, but more determination to do everything that I do with integrity. I think that's the fundamentals. And I love the company I work for. They're the same. I think, like I always say, like attracts like. Look at Ari. Look at the team he's got. Everyone is bubbling, bursting with energy, enthusiastic, lovable, amazing people. So like does attract like. And with the company I work for, I always say, like, to my bosses, Matt and Deb, it's the culture that you guys have created. We can be friends, we can all work super, super hard, but we can also enjoy the benefits that come with it, having time together. Like our head office is in Brisbane, so it's hardly ever a time I go up there. I went up there 2 weeks ago, and it was probably the first time in over a year.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's so good to see the fam, because we all work remotely. Everyone's in their own state or country or whatever it might be.
Oh, really?
So yeah, you got to be very self-motivated and driven, and keep yourself busy to do that. And for me initially, oh my God, it was so hard, so hard, because 250 customers in my face all day, every day, as opposed to working from home on a laptop, making phone calls. I was like, phone call part hasn't changed, but far out, where are the people?
That's a big contrast.
Massive. And I'm social. Like, I like talking to people, engaging with people. And then I'm like, here we are. It's quiet. Where's that button for the crickets?
I can't remember which one it is. Sorry, these aren't labelled.
This one?
I think could be try that blue one.
What's a bit?
I don't know.
That's the one. That's the one. So it's a purple button, crickets. That's what it was like working from home.
No way.
Anyway, we're going to have to cut that whole session.
Just me and you trying to find
button. Where's the crickets? Oh my God. Yeah. So yeah, it was a big transition, but I don't think I'd go back into owning a business just because I think my role now is more fulfilling.
Yeah.
You know, when I run events in someone's business to get it off the ground, or, you know, helping them do a marketing strategy, or helping them put the right ad together to get the right person into the job or whatever, that's more rewarding because I've helped another woman achieve her goals in her career. Makes me feel so much better. So yeah, definitely wouldn't go back to opening my own business. Yeah, I'm all about women and empowering women, giving them the ideas, resources, and the skill set to be good.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what like everyone needs, that sort of like support network,
Absolutely.
advice from other successful women, successful business owners, because like why not learn from someone who has gone through it all and is ready to like support you. And that's amazing. That sort of community that you've built with you and other business women. That's awesome.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It is. It's quite rewarding and fruitful. Like, it fills your cup up.
Yeah.
It really does. It really does. And having daughters, added bonus. Added bonus.
100%.
The only thing I do regret now that my older daughter is a teenager, I'm like, damn, she cost me more money now. If I had the clinic, I'd, get your laser hair removal, darling. Go get your facial. Go get this.
Yeah.
It would have been fine. But hey, it's okay. We'll just support my clients. We'll go to their businesses and support their business by being clients. But yeah. So, but yeah, having daughters, I think it's really, really, really important as a mother that you feel rewarded and you're happy. Because if you are happy as an individual with the dynamics of your world, you can be a better mum.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I don't diminish full-time mums at all. My hat goes off to them. And it really, really bothers me that society has really glorified this boss lady. Great. If you can achieve the success, fantastic. But a mum's primary role, honestly, fundamentally, first and foremost, is to raise your kids right. I'm not a fan of the feminism movement. Like, I think it was too commercialized and glorified. Like, yeah, you can do it too. No, you can't. You can't. I can genuinely say you can't do it. It's such a struggle. It is such a struggle, and it comes at a cost. Your mental well-being and your peace of mind is sacrificed. I swear. So yeah, I just think mums in that period, if they choose to become a mum, their presence at home with their children is far, far, far more important than going out there and, ticking all the boxes in your career and all of that. If I could have my time back again, I would not have sacrificed so much, especially from 0 to 1. That will be my only regret in life.
Right.
That I didn't get to enjoy my babies more. And that didn't come out of choice. It came out of necessity because unfortunately, experienced 2 divorces and whatnot, as you do because it's trending. Oh, gotta be in trend. No, it's all, fun and games. But yeah, no, if I had my time, I'd go back and do it differently.
Yeah.
With the kids, that component, should have just, I don't know, done it differently. But, I just want them to know that, if you're in an unhealthy, toxic relationship, that if you do have the financial freedom, which unfortunately a lot of women don't have sometimes, that you can remove yourself. Yeah. Your inner peace and your emotional and mental well-being is far, far, far more important than sticking it out in an unhealthy environment, because that creates trauma for generations to come, and they don't witness a healthy relationship dynamic. So yeah, look, that's the takeaway from it. So having had my business gave me the financial freedom to not stay in a yucky situation. Yeah. And hopefully they'll appreciate it when they're older. So I just want them to know their worth. Of course. You got to love yourself. You got to know that you deserve better, ultimately. But yeah, I was lucky and fortunate enough to have the business and the fallback of just going, you know what, I'm out, So yeah, that's been the experience.
No, but I can imagine they would look up to you. Like, hope so.
Hope so.
No. Yeah. And I'm sure you would spend more time with them now with like your financial freedom, and you don't have
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's okay.
Yeah, I think I just got to probably reel it back in a little bit, because we do extra stuff from time to time, and I'm like, ooh, shivers, I don't want them thinking that this is the norm. This may not be the norm. But yeah, no, I'm glad that I can, like, honestly, on the cards, because my younger daughter had the accident, we didn't go away for Christmas. So we went and did a staycation at the Crown, as you do, because she loves the pool there, because we drive past it when we, come over the bridge we live in North Sydney. Yeah. But yeah, I like to travel, because I think the more you do travel, you appreciate what you do have in your life. It builds gratitude, and you just go, you know what? I've got it bloody good. Like, with my older daughter especially, we've travelled quite a lot. With my younger daughter as well, not so much because of COVID in the last couple of years. But when you go to like third world countries and you see the people living in slums, it's unfortunate. But the takeaway is that in that situation, they're still happy.
Yeah.
The kids are dancing in the rain. You see them on the side of the street, bigger smiles on their faces. And honestly, it warms my heart and makes me so emotional, because happiness is an inside job. And I just think it's not about the things. And that's what I really want to drive that message in with my kids, saying, listen, you don't have your iPad, and mum took your iPad off as a disciplinary action, but these kids don't have a TV.
Yeah. And
look how happy they are.
Yeah.
They're playing outside, outdoors, kicking, some random ball that they've made into a soccer ball, and they're still happy. So I think we just need to stay grounded and humble, especially with social media as well. I mean, look at us talking here on a podcast, for God's sake. But with social media, I think people do get really caught up with the highlight reels of people's lives. People don't see me in a hospital in ICU with my daughter having 2 brain surgeries, hemorrhaging, and flying over to Bali, and, the dire straits situation we went in. Everyone just thinks it's glorified. Like, look at this mum, single mum killing it. No. No one ever understands the pains and the struggles you've gone through. And there has been some really amazing highs, but there has been like gut-wrenching lows and rock bottom, at rock bottom. And it's just, no one's going to get you out of that situation except for yourself, and practicing gratitude. Yeah. Like, I don't care if people call it God. I believe in God, but whether it's God, the universe, whatever it might be, you got to put your faith in God's hands and just go, you know what? It could be worse. Right. If you practice gratitude, there was a time that I think it would have been 2009 when I did separate and was going through the first divorce. I did have depression. I was seeking therapy and whatnot, behind the scenes, no one saw it. You're running a business, you've got a 1-year-old to look after, whatnot. You're getting on with life. I think you're, just in robot mode. Groundhog Day keeps on repeating itself. But the only thing that can get you out of that situation is yourself. And mental health is real. And I think people who don't understand it or lack empathy, or they criticize it, really lack compassion and are ignorant, to say the least. But it is real, and no matter how much therapy you go to, the only person that's going to get you out of that hole is yourself. And I just remember, getting a journal and actually the book, I don't know where I got it from, some random stationery shop, but it actually said gratitude journal on it.
Oh, really?
And all the pages were blank. So I just started by writing 3 things that I was grateful for every day. Some days it was just like, I woke up, I had a shower, but just being grateful just takes you from a negative mindset into a positive mindset. And then if you can get yourself out of that situation, then the world's your oyster. Yeah. You can do whatever you want, and you can achieve whatever you want. It's all the mind.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's incredible to hear that you were in that mental state and you...
Oh, yeah, and no one knew it.
Yeah, no one.
No, not even my family.
Oh, my goodness.
Nah.
You went through that all on your own.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, because it's, I think you don't want to burden other people, especially, I think with my parents as well, like mum and dad, they were so devastated and disappointed for me, having gone through like with the separation and the divorce and whatnot, because it wasn't initiated on my end. They were struggling with it because, they're still married. I think they're like nearly at 50 years marriage, and they're old school, till death do us part. Right. Doesn't matter if we're screaming at each other, not talking to each other, whatever it might be. Different strokes for different folks. I'm not that way inclined. But yeah, I just think they felt the impact more.
Really?
Yeah, they felt the impact more. With the second one, not so much, because I initiated that. I'm like, hey, once you've gone through it, this is like getting back on the horse. We're here for another rodeo. But yeah, no, I just think, you just don't want to burden people with it. And I think that's when it gets really dangerous. There were dark moments. If it wasn't for my daughter, there were moments where I didn't even want to be here anymore. Just the stress of everything was just getting incredibly too much. And I just thought, if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't be here. But that's what people go through with mental health and, being in a dark place. You just do not want to burden the world, because the world feels like it's suffocating you and overwhelming you. So, just practicing gratitude, I think, puts you in a better place. Yeah. I'm not saying it's the cure, but each day by doing that, it's like taking one step in front of the other. You got to crawl before you walk, and you got to walk before you run, and before you're flying and sprinting, and you're back. But everyone goes through adverse situations that builds character within them. No one knows about it because, again, society's glorified the highlight reels of our lives. With social media and this, that, and it's all about the things, not the people. People are worshipping things and not people, and their relationships. So interesting times ahead, I think, interesting times ahead.
No, that's incredible. It's a testament to you and your character to hear what a dark space you were in, and you pulled yourself out of that. And that's incredible, Fergil.
No, look, I want to say pull myself. I did seek therapy. And if campaigns like Are You OK Day, not everyone's equipped to hold space and make that space safe for someone to offload their dark situation and comfortably talk. But if you are concerned about a loved one, by all means, if you can't hold that space for them, really thoroughly encourage them to go seek help. I think that's the only way you can get through it and crawl out of that situation, and sometimes it's easier offloading to a complete stranger than it is to a loved one, because a loved one does get impacted. They're invested in your life. They've been a part of your journey. They've witnessed it. They've been with you for the highs and lows. And sometimes when you do tell a stranger, it's like talking to a wall, but you've got someone to interact with.
Yeah,
like, you know, you've got that sounding board. It's a safe space to go, you know what? Today was just completely beep. Do we have the beep button?
I don't know if we do. I don't know where it is.
Probably somewhere. I'm going to go through half of crickets and whatnot before we get there. But yeah. So it is life. Life is a journey, and we just got to take each day as it comes, you know.
Agreed.
And always have integrity.
Yeah.
Oh, that blows my mind.
Yeah.
The way people lack integrity these days. Don't even start me. That's another podcast, guys.
That's another
Let's schedule that one in. But yeah, you got to do everything with honesty and integrity, and with good intentions. Yeah. Good intentions.
Agree.
Don't waste people's time.
No, I love that advice.
Yeah.
Actually, that leads me to, what would be your best advice that you have for women in business?
Ooh, interesting. A mentor of mine years ago, she told me very, very early on, before I opened my business. So her name was Mandy Gray, and she was also a distributor like my boss, but she had multiple skincare brands. And when I started in the industry, before I even opened my business, she just always said, do not get emotional in business, because women, the nurturers that we are, we're more empathetic. You know, I think it's just inbuilt with us that we do get more emotional. We're more in tune with our emotions. And she said, when it comes to business, keep it strictly business, whether it's from reprimanding staff to a business deal with a powerful man across the room. Strictly business. They can say things to offend you, to trigger you, and you might like want to react in that moment. And she said, do not react. You just think, how does this relay back to the business? What is the financial impact back on the business? Remove your emotions out of the thought process. Don't jump into making a decision very quickly. If you need time out, just say, listen, I need to sleep on it. I need to think about it, but just do not get emotional. And that was the best piece of advice I've ever been given, especially for women as well, because we come unstuck when we get emotional. Truly.
Is that something you've witnessed a lot throughout like your experiences?
Yeah. Plenty of times. And I'm like, I should coach them. No, but like genuinely speaking, I think you got to trust your intuition, but don't get emotional. Even if your intuition is flaring up emotions and conjuring up all those emotions for you, where you might be getting angry or you might be getting overly excited, or, you know, whatever it might be, play it cool. Don't get emotional, and think things through. I think that's the biggest takeaway.
I love that. Well, I think that is a good note to end our podcast on, our episode on. Thank you so much, Fergil.
No, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me. Oh my God, this is going to be sink or swim. Number two podcast. Wow.
Thank you so much. And I'm sure people have taken trinkets from this and learnt a lot of good lessons. And thank you for the amazing advice. And thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Hopefully it's entertainment value.